Hola clase, ¿cómo están ustedes? Muy bien, yo estoy bien también. Estoy muy feliz a estar aquí contigo. Bueno, vamos a empezar hoy con la atendencia. Clase, ¿dónde está la pelota? ¿Tienen la pelota? Fantástico. Podemos empezar. Por favor, ustedes necesitan hacer la atendencia usando la pelota. Ustedes tienen 1 minuto. Muy bien, clase, excelente. ¿Todos de nosotros estamos aquí? ¿Quién no está aquí? Muy bien, bien hecho. Clase, vamos a continuar con trabajando en el bell ringer. Hoy ustedes necesitan escribir la respuesta de la pregunta en una hoja de papel. Hoja de papel, sheet of paper. Por favor, clase, saquen una hoja de papel y un lápiz. Muy bien, excelente. Clase, la pregunta es, what do you hope to get out of this year in Spanish? Now, I'm going to stop right here and say this is the one and only day that you're going to hear me talking in English this much. I'm doing it because today we're really going to dig into why we do what we do, how we're going to do it, and what's going to get us to the end of this year super successfully and great speakers of Spanish. So, class today is a little different. You might want to take notes. You can refer to your syllabus if you need to, but you and I are going to talk about how we're going to do what we're going to do in my classroom. Okay, so to start out, I want you to think about, what do you hope to get out of this year in Spanish? Be honest. Take a few minutes in English, write down your answer to this question on a piece of notebook paper, which you're then going to store in your binder. Okay, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to think about this, and then we'll come back and talk some more. 3 minutes. Okay, so now that you've thought about it yourself and what you want to get out of high school Spanish this year, I would like you to turn to your elbow partner and tell them what you hope to get out of it, and then ask them what they hope to get out of it. And with your partner, kind of just have that discussion. You can join the discussion with a couple other people around you if you want to talk, like in your table groups. But I want you to just kind of, as a partner, as a group, share what you hope to get out of it and see how common or not common your responses are. So I'm going to give you about 1 minute to quickly talk with a partner about what your expectations are. So 1 minute.
Hola, señorita, ¿cómo te llamas? Me llamo Mike, me llamo Mike. ¿Dónde está el baño? Feliz cumpleaños. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? La 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 la. Me gusta la biblioteca. Vivo en la Casa Roja. Yo tengo 2 bicicletas. Muchas gracias y de nada. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Un momento, por favor. It's the 1 semester of Spanish love song. Mi mamá es bonita. Mi gato es muy blanco. Perdóneme, perdóneme. La 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 la. 1, 2, 3 y 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No remember how to say 11. Antonio Banderas, nachos grande y cinnamon twists. It's the 1 semester of Spanish love song. Au revoir.
Runaway thoughts.
Okay, so probably none of you said that you want to take Spanish this year so that you can write a love song at the end of the year out of everything that you've learned. So that was a joke, and hopefully you've picked up on that. But the joke is to say that so many times what we learn in high school Spanish, when you go back and ask someone, they'll say, I took 3 years of Spanish and I can't speak a word. Or I took 3 years of Spanish and I know to say, Donde está el baño? And me llamo Rosy, okay? We want more than that. And I hope that you put on your answer that you want more than that out of my class. So today, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how I believe that you can get more than this out of Spanish class and what we're going to do together to achieve that goal. Okay, so in all seriousness, number 1 thing that you would say most students want to get out of their foreign language class? Across the board, talking to your friends, what you think other people would say, what do you think it is? Okay, I heard some different answers. The majority of students indicate that what they want, hang on, sorry, we just lost our PowerPoint that we pulled up. What they want to be able to do is to speak the language. The majority of students indicate that they would like to be able to speak the language from a foreign language class. If that's not your goal, why are you doing it? Okay? So that comes from the American Association of Foreign Language, and it's just a fact. That's what kids want out of it. Now, how many of you think that most students leave high school with the ability to speak Spanish? Not very many, right? That's the problem. I went to a really fantastic conference this summer down in Waco where we talked about what is the problem in Spanish classrooms today and how can we fix it using science to make sure that what we're teaching is good practices and it's furthering the goal, which we all want, teachers, students combined, of getting students to be able to speak Spanish. So, thankfully, we have an answer to that, and this answer is called proficiency-based learning. So when I say proficiency, what does that mean? Proficiency means that you have a good grasp on a task, in this case, what I was just talking about, speaking, and you're able to take everything that you do in class and put it towards that goal. So a proficiency-based classroom focuses their classroom around getting students to be able to speak the language. Well, you say, why don't we all do that? I don't know why we don't all do that, but that's what we're going to be doing this year in my classroom, is we are going to take a proficiency-based approach, and we're going to try and make sure that you leave my classroom with a higher speaking ability than when you came in. We're also going to do reading, writing, listening, all those things incorporate in to create good speakers. Okay? So I'm going to take a little bit of time now to explain exactly how we are going to accomplish that and how my classroom setup is going to look. Like I said, I know this is a lot of English. I promise this is more than you're ever going to hear from me in English again, but it's really important that we're all on the same page starting off. So here we go. Okay, so in order to be able to understand proficiency-based teaching and to be understanding how you're going to be assessed, we have to understand what tools we're going to use. And this seems like a big complicated picture here, but it's really not. What it is it says that every speaker starts out at the very lowest level, which is novice low. Okay, your goal is, as you move through Spanish in high school, is to get at a higher level each time you go through, moving from novice up to intermediate, and then if you take Spanish 4, possibly even advanced. And so that's really what you need to understand. We have novice low, novice mid, novice high, intermediate low, intermediate mid, intermediate high, so on and so forth, moving from the very beginning stages up to the advanced. Okay, so with that being said, we have the expectation of where you're going to be based on the year. Okay, so if you are in Spanish 2, which is what obviously a lot of you are in right now, or Spanish 3 or even Spanish 4, I teach all three of them. The Spanish 2 students have been coming right out of Spanish 1. And at the end of Spanish 1, what we would hope is that you are at the novice high level. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to show you a video. This video is called an oral proficiency interview, and they're trying to see what level this woman is at with her ability to speak English. Obviously, you guys are going to be looking at this with your eyes as what level am I at with regards to my ability to speak Spanish. So as you watch her, notice some of the things she does and think in your head, okay, can I do these things in Spanish? So novice high is what this woman is at. Her name is, I don't even remember what her name is. We'll have to look and see what her name is. Leonor. And we're going to watch Leonor, and we're going to think to ourselves, the skills that she's exhibiting in English, can I exhibit those in Spanish? Those of you that are in Spanish 2, just starting out with me, coming from Ms. Grimes, you should be at this level of what you can do. That's where our goal is, okay? So think to yourself as we watch this, can I do the things that Leonor is doing in this video, okay?
The family, then Ordora, no more. Ordora here in White Plains too, in North Broadway. My Honda Dora, my Dora Sandrina, is Franklin Avenue, 10 Franklin Avenue. And my Ordora living in North Broadway.
North Broadway.
White Plains,
Okay.
White Plains.
What's your favorite food to eat?
es su favorite.
What do you like best?
Best. I don't know what is best.
Do you prefer chicken? Do you prefer beef? Do you like pasta? Which do you like most?
Sometimes chicken, sometimes beef, yeah, sometimes pasta, broccoli. What say verduras? What say broccoli? I don't know.
Do you like broccoli?
Zucchini.
Okay. What other vegetables do you like?
Best one?
You like broccoli, zucchini. What else? What other vegetables?
Broccoli, zucchini, what say zanahoria. No remember what say zanahoria. You speak in Spanish?
No, I don't know any Spanish.
Okay, I don't know. No stand too much.
Do you like fruit?
Yes.
What fruits do you like?
Papaya, mango. You stand mango? Manzana, pie, banana.
Okay, so as you'll notice, Leonor could answer some simple questions. She answered in kind of one-word phrases. She had some set vocabulary that she knew. She admitted that there were things that she couldn't understand, but she kind of knew what was being asked of her. So that's the level that we would expect you to be at coming out of Spanish 1 and into Spanish 2. Now I'm going to show you the difference from the beginning of Spanish 2 to the end of Spanish 2, what we are working towards, okay? So we're going to watch another woman and her responses to similar types of questions, and you're going to see what a big difference just a year can make. This is using proficiency-based teaching and evaluation. So let's take a look at what one more year could mean for you as far as your abilities in speaking.
So tell me, Guadalupe, what do you do in Yonkers? What's a daily, a typical day like for you?
I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I prepare my kids to be ready to go to school. And when they went to school, I go to school for adults to learn English every day, Monday through Friday. And when I come back from my school, I prepare the lunch for my kids, clean my apartment, and in the afternoon I had to help my kids with their homework.
And when you're not helping others and going to school yourself, what other kinds of things do you enjoy doing in your free time?
I like to watch the news on television. Read books with my daughters because one daughter, she likes to read a lot of books.
And so what kinds of books does she like to read?
She reads books about animals.
Okay, wasn't that cool to see how much more Guadalupe could do than Leonor? She is an intermediate speaker, okay? So we have you targeted to try to be an intermediate speaker, an intermediate low, but still intermediate by the end of Spanish 2. So by the end of Spanish 2, you could be speaking as good of Spanish as Guadalupe is speaking English. She was able to compare and contrast things. She used the past a little bit. She was by no means solid in it, but she could say things that happened. She used, the biggest difference is full sentences. Intermediate speakers are able to speak in full sentences that are not pre-rehearsed, pre-memorized. She was able to ask questions. Although they weren't pretty, she could still ask questions. And she was able to kind of go above and beyond to give more description when she was asked a question. It wasn't just a yes or no response. So that big of a difference from Leonor to Guadalupe could be you from the beginning of Spanish 2 to the end of Spanish 2. Okay, and we have to remember everyone kind of acquires at a different pace, but we expect at least one level up by the end of a year. So if you're starting at novice high, you are on track to be an intermediate low by the end of Spanish 2. And I know at this point, probably some of those terminologies don't sound clear and you don't understand, I'm going to provide rubrics for you so you'll know exactly what's expected, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But don't get bogged down by the terminology. I'm just trying to show you that using the method we're going to use, how far you can expect to come. I'm also going to play one more video for you, and this is going to be a video of an advanced speaker. And I want to show you how much different it is. It's going to blow your mind. Now, I'm not promising that we're all going to get there. You would have to go all the way through Spanish 4, and even there, we'd be kind of a shaky advanced. But this is possible if you continue your study. So I want to show you what that looks like. So let's watch a snippet of one more video, and then we can talk about it a little bit more.
You studied in a Korean university and you studied in an American university. Can you compare and contrast the two systems for me? What were similar and what were some of the things that were different?
Let me speak about difference first.
Mm-hmm.
In universities in Korea, the major department is very tight.
Mm-hmm.
The student relationship is very tight, especially for the same year,
Mm-hmm.
same grade student. They're very tight.
Mm-hmm.
So we all know each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we eat together.
Mm-hmm.
We travel together. We do a lot of things together.
Mm-hmm.
And this a small group is very tight until they graduate.
Mhm.
Usually people do not change their major or school.
Mm-hmm.
So they stay together for a very long time.
Mm.
On the other hand, American universities, they can change. They take courses from other major departments, especially from like a third year or fourth year. They change all over they change it to the double major.
Okay, so as you can see, the main difference between an intermediate and an advanced, so like say from a Spanish 3 to a Spanish 4, would be that you really are more comfortable with the language. He's responding in normal conversation like you and I would, talking in English. He doesn't have it perfectly, but he's comfortable speaking. He's using different verb tenses, and he just has a greater ability to expand when questions are asked, okay? So that's going to be some of the characteristics that an advanced speaker would exhibit. That would be your goal. If you are extremely good Spanish 4 student, we'd love to get you to the advanced level. Maybe intermediate high, advanced low, but that would be where we're going. So if you're just starting out in Spanish 2, you can see where you're going. If you're in Spanish 3 or 4, you can judge where you're at. And one thing I do want to say is, regardless of where any of you are right now, everyone does develop at their own speed. So my goal is to take whatever you're at right now, so be it novice low, novice mid, intermediate mid, wherever you are right now, and move you up one level. Okay, if we go more than that, great, but one level is where I want you to be moved up. As you can see how much difference a level can make, okay? So this is what we're working towards, and now I want to talk a little bit about the things that we're going to do differently in my classroom from maybe other classrooms that you've been in before to accomplish that goal. We'll talk a little bit about the grading policy and stuff like that, the stuff that I know you guys are itching to know, and probably so are your parents. That being said, also, I do want to remind you before I forget that I am going to post this link to this video on YouTube, be it on our Twitter, Edmodo, or something. I want your parents to be able to have the opportunity to have this explained to them just like I'm explaining it to you. And so that will be available as well, and I will let you know where you can find that. So in just a minute, we're going to talk a little bit more about how we're going to make this happen in our classroom. Okay, so now to, I'm sure, what most of you consider the important stuff, because not to call out any names, but I guarantee some of you, when asked the question up for the bell ringer, what do I want to get out of Spanish class, you said an A, okay? An A is possible, but let me tell you how, okay? So, I don't love grades. I don't think that letter grades or number grades are always really good indicators of what we know how to do, but it's what we do at school, so you know, I'm adapting to that. One thing I want to say is that every assignment you have will have a rubric, okay, and you'll get graded and leveled out, novice low, novice mid, you know, it all correlates, and we'll see a rubric like that in a second. But one thing that I'm going to do differently this year from past years that I've done I split up kind of the percentages for grading a little bit differently. So as you can see on the screen, we have 4 categories, and it's not homework, tests, projects, anything like that like you would maybe assume, because that doesn't fit our model here, okay? 35% of your grade is going to be speaking, 35% is going to be listening, 15% is going to be reading, and 15% is going to be writing. It's simple. Anything that I have you do, any task I have you do that I take a grade on, is going to fall in one of these 4 categories, okay? Speaking grades would be things like your oral quiz that you're going to take each week, and I'll explain more about that later. The main focus of our assessment is going to be called proficiency-based assessments, and that's where I'm going to give you a task. It will fit in one of these 4 categories, and you perform that task, and you, through the rubric, receive a level, and then that receives a correlating grade, and then that goes into the grade book, okay? If it's a speaking task, it's going to be make up 35% of your grade. If it's a reading test or task, 15% of your grade. So we're not going to be taking like official like written tests like maybe you have in other classes. And so hang on. Pause. My son needs me. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. So your listening, we'll do listening activities. Reading, you'll have different, artifacts to read, and you'll respond to questions. Writing, you'll have a weekly journal, and that you'll get to choose, every 3 weeks which is your best work and which you turn in. So this grading policy and this assessment policy is really set up for you to show me what you know how to do and to be proud of it, okay? I want to really have these be a true reflection of what you know how to do and how far you've come, most importantly, okay? So using a rubric, we're going to be able to assess where you're at, and I will pull up an example of the rubric right now. Here's an example of what this rubric would look like, and this is from a school in Jefferson County that is very famous for doing a great job at proficiency-based learning, and so why create the wheel again when I can borrow this, okay? So we're going to use their rubric because I really like it. It talks about major and minor focuses and then says all the way across what you can do. So whenever we do something for the grade book, you will have a rubric to use if it's a performance assessment, okay, and that'll make sure that kind of everyone is on the same page, everyone knows what to expect, and then there's a letter grade assigned to each of the different levels based on what level you're in Spanish, okay? So if there's any questions about that, or you're confused about it, or your parents are confused about it, please email me, let me know, or come speak to me or call me. And just trust me, it's for you to show what you know, and I think once you see how it works, you're really, really going to like it. And I don't want to overwhelm you with information. I'm sure I already have thrown a lot at you today, but we will talk more about the rubrics as we get into our first performance-based assessments. One thing that I do want to tell you about is the way we're doing our vocabulary, because it's probably different than the way you've done it in the past. So I want to mention that today before we get our vocabulary words next week, how that's going to work. So we're going to have 6 units in the whole year, only 6, which is great because that means we're spending 5 to 6 weeks on a unit and really can take the time to focus and accomplish the objectives that we set out for each unit. At the beginning of each unit, you're going to get a list of objectives of things that you'll be able to do, I can statements, so you'll know exactly what you need to be able to do to successfully master the thing that we're talking about in that unit. With that, for the unit, we're going to have 2 sets of vocabulary for each unit, one at the beginning and one in the middle. You're going to get a list of only 20 words. I'm going to choose the 20 most important words out of our unit that I think you need to know. And I'm going to expect you to learn those, and I'm going to expect you to be able to use them, and I'm going to help you with that through all the activities we do in class. You are going to then take 10 words of your own that you're going to think of as we kind of go through the week, and you're going to choose 10 words that you think are vital to you being able to communicate whatever it is that we're working on that week, and you're going to master those. So you're going to master 20 of mine and 10 of your own, and when it comes time for the quiz, we're talking about speaking proficiency here, so we're going to have a speaking quiz, and basically what it is you're going to have your 20 or your 10 words, my 20 words. We're going to pop them in a hat, pull out 5, and I'm going to ask you to do a task with those 5 words. So it's low pressure, and it's really trying to tailor the learning towards you and the words that you want to know, rather than just giving you a giant list of 30 or 50 or 80, even sometimes vocabulary words like some people do. So we're doing things a little bit differently, and I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up on that. And like I said, I don't want to throw a lot of information at you. So as we get to these different tasks, I'm going to be walking you through it. But remember, today is my day to speak a lot of English. I will not be doing this anymore. So that's kind of why I wanted to give you a heads up in English, so that you know what to expect when we get to these different things. So next week for vocabulary, you'll know to expect 20 words of mine. You'll know to be looking throughout the week for 10 words of your own to add. Make them meaningful to you, make them useful for what you need to say and what we're doing. And then you'll be tested, I guess, quizzed on 5 of those words that we'll just draw out of a hat. So that's what you should expect for that. All right, we will move on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a few minutes to get your binders set up how they need to be set up, okay? So hopefully all of you have your green binder, which remember we're going to use green because green is our color for Spanish this year. I want you to know. And I am going to have the sub pass out the labels that I've made for you, and you'll take either Spanish 2, Spanish 3, or Spanish 4 based on whatever class you are, and you're going to put the label in the front middle of your binder right here, and on the line where it says nombre, obviously you're going to write your name, okay? Underneath, I would like you to write your class period, your hora, so that we know your Spanish 2, hora 3, or whatever it is, so that if you lose this, because this is going to be vital to your success in here. So if you lose this binder, someone will know where to bring it back to. So label the front when the sub passes out the labels. I'm going to give you time at the end of the video to do all of this. So right now, just listen, and then you'll know what you need to do, okay? So you're going to get out your tabs. You should have 8 divider tabs, and you're going to put them in your binder. There's going to be obviously 8 things that you need to label, and I am going to right now help you know what that needs to be, okay? So what you're going to do is, I'll just do it so you can see here, binder tabs, and you're going to label the 8 different ones. The first one you're going to label vocabulary, okay? The second, if you want to take notes on this so that you know what to do when I turn this video off and you have time to set up your binder, go ahead and do that. The second one, you're going to label Unit 1, obviously Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, Unit 5, Unit 6, okay? 6 units, vocabulary at the first, and the back you're going to put journal, okay? So you're going to get your 8 tabs, label vocabulary, units 1 through 6, and journal. Now you're probably saying, but Ms. Whitaker, we have different vocabulary for each unit. Yes, you do. At the end of a unit, you're going to put those vocabulary papers into the correct unit, but I always want the vocabulary front and center for you to be able to add to your list as we go. And then the journals are going to be at the back, and you'll always know where to find those, and then everything we do for the unit, all the activities, will go in that unit, okay? So in a few seconds, I'm going to give you time to get your labels passed out, write your name and your class period, put your tabs in your binder, label those. Under the vocabulary tab, that's where you should put your loose leaf paper. You can put half under the vocabulary tab and half in the back under the journal tab, and that way you'll have that paper there. The other thing I want you to do is under your journal, the first thing that you're going to write about at the end of class today, and this is in English, your only journal of the year that gets to be in English, let's put it that way. I want you to write about how you have changed your mind now that you've heard how this class is going to work. Is your goal the same that you set at the beginning of class, or is it different? And then just things that you feel that you can do with me, or the things that I can do with you throughout the year to help us be successful in attaining those goals. So just kind of a reflection on, I know we've talked about a lot, I want you to kind of reflect on it And in English, just a paragraph or two about how you've kind of changed those expectations or how they align with what you thought in the beginning. Just kind of reflect on that, okay? So you're going to have the rest of class to get your binder set up and to reflect on that. And then starting next week, we're going to just hit the ground running. I'm still going to be out next week, so I'm going to have these video lessons for you, and hopefully, we'll just keep on trucking right along. Like I said, as always, if you have questions, my email address, abby.whitaker@popcs.org. You could also tweet. Edmodo is going to have updates for you, and you should have all the tools you need to do the things that I'm asking of you. So thank you for listening to my boring speech all day. I promise this is the most boring Spanish class we'll ever have, but we needed to get some of these things addressed, and now we should be able to go. Hasta luego!